Thank you very much, sir. So speaking about education, we all know Nigerians are passionate about education. What are your generation preparing for the next generation of our workforce for the emerging high technology of 21st century?
Well, the first thing we should all be talking about is schooling. It has become clear to everyone that education is the key to anything that we have to do. We, however, have recognized as well that in the previous generation, people went to school and they came out and had no jobs. Therefore, it is also important to note that when you are talking about education, it must be focused on something. You must have a focus on what you want to educate the people about. For this generation, it is necessary to emphasize technical education, not predominantly university education. We should focus more on technical things because, you see, the difference between the Stone Age and today is engineering. And when you look at the countries that have excelled, it is all about engineering. So we should instead focus more on technical studies such that our children would learn the technicalities of these subjects and use them. For example, you have all the polytechnics in the country. They should be fully utilized. You have seen that our boys, some of them, even without attaining a lot in education, you can see how much they've been able to use the computers and the internet. If we train them properly to use this positively, you will find that jobs that are seeded out in Europe, America, and the rest of it, and can be seeded to Nigerians even without leaving our shores. That happened in the 70s when America, for example, was seeding their jobs, their intellectual jobs, to India. All other countries want people who have the brains and the technical know-how to do jobs for them. And if those countries can use brains that are coming from here, then we surely would need also those brains to work for us in here. And then you will find a situation where the demand will be higher than the supply. And then, of course, all our children will all be employed.
Well, pardon, sir, if you look at this generation, most of us don't want to go to school anymore because our previous generation, some are in the streets, some are motorcyclists, some are into one legal business or the other just to make ends meet. So I want you to throw more light on this. What do you think our generation, this present generation, should do about this?
I just mentioned that technology is what drives any country now. It's not all about going to the schools to read English or to read history. It is more what these young people can use. And what they can use is technology. In fact, you can find that in the East, you'll find places where technology has been used. Or even look at China, look at other countries in the eastern part of the world. They are all using nanotechnology to achieve things. And our children are not dumb. That was not. They are smart. If you teach them the right thing to do, they will excel. And using the computers and the internet today, they are good at it.
How do Nigerian producers compete in the global markets, please, given a weak production realities?
I would say the problem that we have is a problem of marketing and training. There was a time in this country when we produced the best rubber in the world, and the demand for it was very high until we introduced sharp practices. Now, the cost of rubber in the global market has since escalated, but we are no longer there because of sharp practices. Therefore, we must learn to train our people to go back to producing what they produce without sharp practices. That also has affected, for example, the cocoa we produce. It has affected the cashew we produce. And the outside world they have a way of checking the contents of what you produce. And since sharp practices came into our production, the demand for our various products and produces have reduced. If we want to get back there, we need to go back to the drawing table and make sure we are producing what we say we are producing without sharp practices. Then the demand for our goods will be very high out there. Besides, if our produces are not good enough for the international market, it means they are also not good enough for us in here. We must take note of that, otherwise we will end up poisoning ourselves.
Thank you very much, sir. Hello viewers, we are still watching Tough Question with Joyce with engineer Dr. Mike Isewoye. We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial. Thank you.